All right, welcome guys to Smooth Operator. We're back again, and today we're going to Hungary. So last time around, if we take a look at what happened. So taking a look here at Spa-Francorchamps last time, Oscar Piastri took the race victory with Lando Norris in second, so a 1-2 for McLaren. Max Verstappen in third, Hamilton and Leclerc close behind, then Yuki Tsunoda, the two Mercs. Carlos Sainz ending up in ninth at the end of the race. We just didn't have quite the pace we needed to keep up. We were fairly close to George Russell in the end. But the pace just dropped away from us a little bit. I'm hoping here at Budapest that we have a bit of a faster car because, it is a low-speed circuit, low-medium speed circuit, and I think our car should match the circuit a bit better. We're not particularly strong on the high-speed circuits, so we'll see what we can do. And then taking a look at the Hungarian Grand Prix. So on Friday, we have 2 practice sessions looking to be just sunny weather. Saturday as well, sunny, but then for the race, there's going to be more rain. So we've already had quite a bit of rain throughout the season. Historic safety car chance of 50%. So taking that into account, but with the rain, maybe even more so a chance. We'll see what we have to do. So we'll have to really rely on our pure pace of the car over being able to, use DRS and keep with the leaders. And then the interesting bit will be once we get, if I just skip over here, so Hungarian Grand Prix, this is what is coming up. We have a floor design that's coming up that's almost ready. And then our fifth rear wing will be ready. And then we have a nice little break until Zandvoort to where our next chassis will also be completed. So we have 3 upgrades going into the Dutch Grand Prix, which will be really nice. The big thing though, which I talked about last time as well, is that if you see here, looking at the ERS modules, this one's on 48%, I think 8% left until it gets to a damaged state, so we'll have to order a new one of those at some point. 2.5 million. Taking a look at the gearboxes, we only have 1 good gearbox remaining, so at some point we'll have to replace that, which is another 1 million. And then if we take a look at the engines, I think we should be able to squeeze out the rest of the Grand Prix on those 2 engines. They're 5 million a piece, but yeah, we're not planning on spending that money on the engine, so we're going to use these 2 for the practice sessions, and let's hope they don't fail in the meanwhile, and then we'll have these 2 for races. So yeah, let's hope after the Hungarian Grand Prix, when all that comes in, we have a serious upgrade package coming, and that should see us boost up nicely up the grid order and maybe even challenge, the likes of Ferrari and Mercedes. And then something else I forgot to mention is that we are looking at a bunch of these costs, but as you can see, we've already gotten our sponsor money in, or our board money for the this month of August. We'll also get a sponsor payout right after this race, so I hope that will be able to cover all the new developments we have to start up, and then also the fact that we probably have to get a new, new engine components for Carlos Sainz. All right, guys, getting into qualifying. Bit of bad news. Carlos Sainz did have another crash in free practice 3, which damaged some of his components even more. We had to actually replace the front wing and the chassis as well. So yeah, not great, but hopefully we should have a bunch of funds coming in after this race between now and the Dutch Grand Prix. But let's send our drivers out for their first lap right now. All right, Carlos Sainz on his first lap has one of the Alpines there, that and I hope one of the McLarens that doesn't get in the way. But yeah, our car should be looking pretty good. We have a pretty good low-speed car, so I hope it really helps us here today. Would be very nice, of course, because we're trying to get those sponsor targets. I also took the most difficult objective for Alex Albon today, so if both of our drivers hit their objective, we could be looking at 1.4 million extra On top of that, we'll get our sponsorship money, and we've just gotten our board money, so we could be ending up pretty close to 10 million, I think, in the bank if we manage all that. But obviously, we have some parts to replace as well. Okay, so a bit of an update here. 5 minutes remaining in Q1. I don't think I'm going to send Sainz out for another lap. We just sent Albon out for another lap, and he's finding it hard to improve, so he's sticking around that P12 position. And yeah, we have Lawson coming in there with a nice lap. And then also Antonelli, for instance, still has to go out. So he'll drop down to maybe, hopefully, only P15 or so. But we'll have to see with Albon. The pace is not looking good, but Sainz looking very competitive. So far beating both of the Ferraris and actually only a tenth and a half off Tsunoda, so not bad. Albon now on his second flying lap again. Sainz just staying in the pits. He's safe for sure. But Albon is definitely on that cusp, and he's now stuck behind, I think it's Isaac Hadjar in front. So I hope this doesn't impact his lap time too much. So we should hopefully be safe. Antonelli will definitely still improve. There we go. P8 now for Albon, so very nicely done. All right, we've put some initial laps in here. Sainz 5 tenths, 6 tenths, maybe behind Verstappen. This was on old used tires though, so we'll see what we can do towards the end of the qualifying session here. We're going to send both of our drivers out on fresh tires. All right, with some of these faster cars coming through, Sainz actually swapped positions with Doohan, it is. So he's starting his push laps now. Or push lap now, 40 seconds on the clock, so we're out towards the rear of the field. Most of the other cars have put in their laps, so let's see what Sainz can do. Should be a nice improvement getting on those, you know, nice and fresh tires, as we have a Merc that is moving out of the way, and then maybe Hulkenberg in the Sauber in front, who should also hopefully move out of the way, because it's going to be in one of those tricky spots where he might get blocked. Here he is on the exit. Does he get out of the way? Okay, should be fine, should be fine. Slower sector 1. Oh, but we're on that cusp, and this is not looking too good now. We were definitely looking for that improvement from Sainz. And let's hope his teammate doesn't knock him out now. Okay, no improvements, but we should be safe. We should be safe. Let's see what Albon can do. Albon coming across the line now. DRS open. He's also not going to improve. Oh, 1 thousandths away from Q3 for Albon. So ending up in P11. 1 thousandths behind Behrman. Who's maybe still on the lap. No, he's heading into the pits as well, I think. Alright, into Q3 now. We're going to send out Sainz right away so he can get 2 laps in again. 1 on used tires, 1 on new tires. And then we'll see how we can do. Alright, Sainz on his first flying lap in Q3. I think George Russell, or was it Antonelli? Antonelli's also on a lap in front. And then we have one of the McLarens heading out on their out lap, so let's hope they don't get in the way. But again, it's just a banker lap, so fastest middle sector though, so faster than Antonelli in the middle sector. That is good. And then coming through the last couple of corners here, the right-hander leading on to the start-finish straight. Sainz will come across the line, and what kind of lap does he post? Oh, better than Antonelli. So a 1:12.888 and nearly 2 tenths faster than Antonelli. That really hooking up the middle sector and the last sector there, Sainz. Really well done. All right, so Sainz out on his second lap, currently in P8, but it's very close, and we were on all tires, of course. We had to push him out a little bit because Yuki Tsunoda and I think Behrman were very close behind us, so we didn't want to get in a scrap with them over the track position. So we'll see now how we can do. Let's hope for an improvement, but it might be tough here. So no improvement in sector 2. Okay, so we have to tone it down a bit. Let's hope we can get maybe in front of Norris, who's again having a pretty poor qualifying session. Verstappen in first, though. And coming through the last corner, let's see. What will it be across the line for Sainz? Okay, P7, P7. Not bad, not bad. Half a tenth behind Antonelli. But I think it could have been better if we didn't maybe get some dirty air there from Norris or Piastri, whoever it was. But yeah, looking competitive. Top 7, definitely possible. But I assume Norris will be a lot faster during the race, actually. So we'll have to see about that one. All right, guys. So this is what the starting grid will look like. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position with Max Verstappen just behind. Then Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Yuki Tsunoda, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and there is Carlos Sainz. So Carlos Sainz in 7th. Lando Norris right behind us, and George Russell. So people we have to watch out for. Oliver Bearman, then Alex Albon just outside the top 10. So good enough for me. If we can get Alex inside the top 10, that would be a win, I think. Liam Lawson, Nico Hulkenberg, Fernando Alonso, Jack Doohan, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, Lance Stroll, Isaac Hadjar, and Gabriel Bortoleto. Just before we head into the race, don't forget it's going to be what looks like heavy rain for the entirety of the race session. So we'll see how that is going to affect our race. But let's hope we can finally come out on top and get a decent result here in the rain, and hopefully not damage our car anymore, because we really can't take all those costs. So let's get into it.
Checks are being carried out by the teams, and it won't be long until we get this race underway. Our attention shifts to Lewis Hamilton and what he can produce in this race.
They're 4th on the grid, so I'd expect to see them mount a challenge for the top 3 in this race.
So let's see what today has in store, shall we? And here we go.
All right, the 5 red lights come on here at the Hungarian Grand Prix, and we are away with Carlos Sainz in P7. Let's hope we can stay ahead for now in that P7 spot. P6 now for Sainz. He's trying around the outside of Antonelli. So let's see if he can pull that off. Turns to the inside, of course, for the next corner. So let's see here. Up the inside of Antonelli. Can he get ahead, Sainz? Ooh, Antonelli is doing really well holding out on the outside there. And he is going to slip ahead of Carlos Sainz here. So Sainz still in P7. Albon managed to get up into P8. We've underfueled the car again quite drastically. Obviously, we're in the rain, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue to have to save any fuel. That should be pretty easy here today. And again, we'll let Carlos push about 2 laps or so, and then we'll start thinking about maybe toning it down with the tires. Also try to harvest, of course, whenever we can. And then Albon slowly losing touch already, so yeah, not great. Norris now fighting with Sainz, which is something we can't really afford to do. But yeah, we'll just let Sainz relax a little bit with his deployment and such. We'll let Norris through, even though we don't really have much of a choice. He's in a much faster car, but I don't want to endlessly fight him through the corners here, because we know Norris is just much quicker than us. Again, just using some deployment with Sainz, but it's well, it's already looking like it's gonna be a tough race here. Antonelli slowly losing touch with the top 5 there. Piastri in the lead, Verstappen P2, and Piastri actually starting to gain a little bit of an advantage here on Max Verstappen if we take a look here. So Piastri, you can see already making a little bit of a gap. And it is interesting because Piastri is on those wet tires. And technically, it's not really a wet race situation right now. So if we take a look at the other tires, Verstappen also on the wets. And then we're all on intermediates except for Gasly here. So again, it will be an interesting strategy battle here. the rain should lessen up here in a little bit. So that's when the wet tires should start losing a bit of pace, and then it's gonna pick up again throughout the race. But it's gonna be, yeah, it's again gonna be one of those where you have to kind of bet on wet or intermediate tires. So we'll see how the race progresses in that. But yeah, we'll just let Sainz push on his fuel and his tires for a little bit. We'll do the same with Albon because it is quite easy to save fuel here in the wet. Doesn't look like we're gonna get any closer so far. We are doing better on our tires than most of the cars ahead, so that is something. Obviously, the interesting thing will be to see how those wet tires hold on for the other guys. And then meanwhile now, Sainz being hounded by George Russell behind, but Russell just not finding enough pace here to get past. So for now, we're just holding on quite decently. And Sainz now closing up again to the back of Norris and Antonelli ahead. So we're making up some time by pushing the tires and using some of our fuel. So lessening up the pace now a little bit with Sainz. Again, we want to consider our fuel in the long run and also our tires. We don't want them constantly overheating because I don't want Carlos to spin out and crash once again, because all those costs that come along with that aren't gonna be great. All right, so lap 10 track conditions have now changed to wet, so we'll have to monitor that. It's right on the cusp of being wet, so it's not like it's not like we're on a massive disadvantage to some of those wet runners in front, but we are doing a pretty good job keeping our tires in good shape. But we'll have to see here, because the prediction is still that in about 10 laps time or so, the rain will ease up again, and then towards the middle part of the race, it'll get heavier rain then, and towards the end as well. So we'll see how we'll manage our pit stops, but yeah, for now we just carry on the inters. Unless all of our opposition suddenly starts pitting, then we'll consider pitting as well. But for now, yeah, we just manage the race and see what happens. So yeah, coming back into it, lap 17. The track is only very slightly damp, or it's just in a damp state, you could say. We're nowhere near being the wet is what I'm, implying. And Sainz is now slowly catching up to Antonelli in front. It seems Antonelli has really been cooking his tires for this first stint. So we have about a 10% wear advantage. And you can see that now as we're gaining tenths every sector. And this should be an easy pass on Antonelli once we get close enough. Meanwhile, Russell has been just holding on to the back of Sainz. He's doing well, but again, just in the rain, it doesn't seem like the Mercedes has that much pace. So he's struggling to get past Sainz as well. There's not even been a single kind of move for this position from Russell.
Now we're watching Carlos.
Oh, it has happened again. Again.
And makes contact with the wall. And that's a tough one to
Carlos
take.
was doing so well, and it happens again. Man. Okay, so VSC out on track. Albon, the only remaining Williams, and I don't know why Sainz is crashing so much this season, but yeah, he's retired from the race. That'll be another, I'm sure, loads of repairs coming our way, and I think all that money that we were looking to get from this race is going to be spent on repairs once again. So, yeah, I think after this race, I've talked about having to talk to Carlos, but I think it is actually time we talk to Carlos, because this cannot keep going. At this point, we're gonna have to beg for funds to keep him running this season. Unbelievable. All right, the rain has increased now. Obviously, Albon, the only remaining Williams driver on the track, and yeah, the rain has increased in intensity by quite a lot, so we're bringing in Albon this lap, so we're just letting him push a little bit here as to not lose that much time. But Norris already made his pit, and Verstappen, most importantly, he's made a pit last lap, and look at how much time he's gained. He will easily come out in first in this race, I think. So Looking at another strong result from from Max here. So Albon coming in now, and let's hope it's a good pit stop for him. We really want to keep him preferably P9, but anything else or anything more would be really good, of course. Oh, and it's a slow pit stop, isn't it? Or did we get held? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There we go. Out in P12 now, and we have Lawson and Ocon still ahead on Inters, but they should be quite slow. Another yellow flag somewhere. See, someone made a mistake. Bortoletto. Bertoletto coming out of turn 1, and yeah, on traction, just nothing there, just spins around, but he gets going pretty quickly again. Tricky conditions, obviously. And his car obviously wouldn't help with that. Alright, so tuning back in. I know it's been a big skip in the laps here, but on lap 51, we went through a couple of inter periods, switching to wet again. Haven't really changed the tires yet with Albon. But we created quite a big gap to Behrman behind. And now we're coming up to a lot of heavy rain again, so everyone's switching to another set of wet tires, I would assume. But we'll see here. We're able to hold on here with Albon for a little while still, but this is probably where we're going to bring him in for another set of wet tires. Which will probably be perfect, so yeah. I think we are going to do that, so we'll go on to our second set of wet tires. And they should line up perfectly with the weather coming in here. So currently raining very hard. You can see how fast the track wetness is going up. So perfect time to pit here with Albon, I think. Oh, and it's a long pit stop again.
Why did we take so long?
Oh, man.
Sorry.
Okay, so Albon
Okay, what's your white line?
getting out. Slow pit stop, but at least we're ahead of Behrman still. So we're just gonna let Leclerc with a little bit of a mechanical fault here.
They've got a fault with the car.
Nothing crazy. He's not saying anything over the radio, but we're just gonna let Albon push here a little bit. We are in the dirty air of Bortoletto, which ideally we want to get past and just be in clean air, because this is not helping our race, of course. But we are miles behind Antonelli and Russell.
Got the win.
All right, Piastri coming across the line as the race winner, and Albon will end up in P9. We had to complete another lap with him, but
All credit to the team for the car they
yeah,
put
Piastri
together.
with another victory, so very nicely done.
Consistent driving, it'd all be for nothing.
And yeah, Albon coming through the last couple of corners here to at least pick up P9, and he will at least pick up his target for the race, so we'll get at least the money from him, which will be good. But yeah, big repairs coming in for Sainz, so not the race we would have wanted there, but at least Albon somewhat salvaging a little bit here.
Alex Albon's driving was out of this world, and it's justly rewarded here.
There wasn't too much expectation of them today, but they fought hard and found themselves in the points.
But just look at this. The overwhelming excitement for those celebrating this achievement. With such a strong performance from Piastri, there's no denying that he's earned that place on the podium today.
4 superb wins to their name now this year, and it's been a pleasure watching them drive.
And as far as those 3 are concerned, well, they'll be leaving Budapest hungry for more. Now, Karun, no doubt there'll be a lot for the teams to process after that race, but how do you think the Williams team are feeling?
Well, it was a bit of a mixed bag here. Some things went their way, but others didn't. I think their main target now will be finding some consistency for sure.
And that then marks the end of our time here in Hungary.
For the next round, Formula One won't be straying too far. We'll be heading to the dunes of Zandvoort and the lightning speed of the Dutch Grand Prix.
Alright guys, that was the Hungarian Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri picking up the win, Charles Leclerc second, Yuki Tsunoda third, Lewis Hamilton in fourth, Lando Norris fifth, and then Max Verstappen dropping down to sixth. He went really long on his wet tires, and then for some reason he just lost out massively time-wise. And then George Russell, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Alex Albon at least picking up that ninth spot, Oliver Bearman, Lance Stroll in P11, Nico Hulkenberg, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Ocon, Doohan, Hadjar, Liam Lawson, Bortoleto, and then Sainz unfortunately DNFing once again. Taking a look at the driver's standings now, Max Verstappen retains his lead, but by only 1 point, as Oscar Piastri has now closed right up to the back of Max Verstappen. Lando Norris in P3, 237 points. Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Yuki Tsunoda in 7th. Sainz then in 8th, but again losing ground to Kimi Antonelli because of that DNF. Liam Lawson then in 10th. Fernando Alonso 11th, Lance Stroll, and then Pierre Gasly, Oliver Bearman. Alexander Albon again picking up a position here with those 2 extra points, and if he scores one more time then he'll hop over Oliver Bearman as well. Bortoleto now dropping down to 16th. Then Nico Hulkenberg, Esteban Ocon, Jack Doohan, and Isaac Hadjar. Taking a look at the constructors now, McLaren 480 points, Red Bull 359, but again McLaren just extending that lead, which isn't surprising to be honest. They have the best car by far. Ferrari, they are in 3rd now. Mercedes in 4th with another 10 points added on. Williams, us still in 5th, and an ever increasing gap to the bottom 5 here. Aston Martin in 6th. 7th is Alpine. Haas actually jumping over Kick Sauber now with another point scored, and then Racing Bull still in 10th with a measly 2 points actually. Alright, so at least Alex Albon reaching that target of 14th of higher, getting a really good result here for the team, at least getting that 700k in the bank, because those repairs are going to be costly for Carlos Sainz, and yeah, I think we'll be forced nearly to swap out our engine parts now, so we'll see how that goes. So taking a look at the sponsor plan, it completed right after this race, so we get another 2.5 million in the bank, successfully completed. We also get an energy drink advert that we completed, so another million right there from the sponsor agreement. So we're up to 9.2 million now, and well, that's something we'll need for the repairs of Sainz. So let's actually look at Sainz's car. Okay, so bit of a summary here. Sainz destroyed the chassis, the front wing, the rear wing, and the suspension on the car, and then along with that the underfloor actually got too much wear over these past couple of races. So we have plenty of money we have to invest in already manufacturing these parts, but we should have a little bit more money coming in hopefully, and we'll see how we can get those new developed parts on. But usually this is not something I do looking at it after the race, but I thought I'd let you guys know, because this 9 million, it might look like a lot now, but yeah, we're gonna end up with pretty much nothing towards when we come into the next race. Alright guys, that was this episode of Smooth Operator. Not the result we would have wanted with Sainz there, at least Albon picking up the scraps and picking up some points for Williams and getting some money in the bank, most importantly. Next up, we'll be heading to the Netherlands. So that will be very exciting. Another low-speed circuit, and we should have 3 extra upgrades complete and ready to go on the car. And obviously, we're looking at a big repair bill for Carlos Sainz's car, but we have to keep pushing. We have to keep our development up, and yeah, we'll see what we can do when we go to Netherlands the next time. But anyway, if you've enjoyed the episode, please consider subscribing. Also, give it a thumbs up if you really liked watching, and then also consider hitting the bell icon to be notified of when the next episode comes out. And with that being said, I am Senne, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.